The cultural emphasis on emotional control has become deeply embedded in our social fabric, creating an unspoken expectation that strength means maintaining composure regardless of internal turmoil. This societal pressure manifests in countless daily moments, in professional settings where we force a smile despite stress, in personal relationships where we downplay our hurt, and in public spaces where we strive to project an image of unwavering stability. This collective behavior has elevated emotional restraint to a virtue, treating it as a marker of maturity and resilience. However, this approach to emotional management comes with significant hidden costs that manifest in both psychological and physiological ways. When emotions are consistently suppressed, they don't simply dissolve, they transform. These suppressed feelings often emerge as physical symptoms: persistent tension headaches that resist traditional treatment, unexpected outbursts of anger that seem disproportionate to their triggers, and the deep exhaustion of emotional burnout. The body, in its wisdom, finds ways to express what the mind refuses to acknowledge. The metaphor of emotional armor provides a powerful illustration of this dynamic. Like medieval knights donning heavy plate mail, we layer ourselves with protective barriers against emotional vulnerability. This armor might shield us from immediate pain or potential rejection, but it also creates a prison of isolation. The weight of this protection becomes a burden, distancing us not only from meaningful connections with others, but also from our authentic selves. The very defenses we build to protect ourselves ultimately contribute to our loneliness. True emotional honesty represents a different path, one that doesn't require constant emotional exposure or dramatic displays of feeling. Instead, it advocates for a more nuanced approach to emotional expression. It's about developing the capacity to acknowledge our current emotional state without embellishment or minimization. This might mean simply stating, "I'm struggling today," or "This situation is challenging for me," without feeling compelled to either justify these feelings or immediately resolve them. The fear surrounding emotional honesty is deeply rooted and multifaceted. Opening ourselves to vulnerability creates uncertainty. Will others understand our experience? Will they judge us for our feelings? Will they withdraw from the relationship? These fears are legitimate and reflect real social risks. Yet paradoxically, it's precisely these moments of vulnerability that create the foundation for genuine connection. Real relationships deepen not in the exchange of pleasantries and surface-level interactions, but in the shared acknowledgement of our common struggles and uncertainties. Our emotional responses serve as sophisticated internal guidance systems. Each feeling carries specific information about our relationship with our environment and ourselves. Anger often signals violated boundaries or unmet needs. Sadness points to meaningful losses or disconnections. Fear highlights what we value and wish to protect. And joy guides us toward experiences that align with our authentic selves. Rather than viewing emotions as problems to solve, we can approach them as valuable data about our internal landscape. The binary categorization of emotions as either good or bad has created a problematic relationship with our feeling states. This oversimplified view leads to the suppression of supposedly negative emotions, creating a backlog of unprocessed feelings that influence our behavior in unconscious ways. The truth remains, what we don't feel, we carry. What we don't process, we pass on. This makes emotional honesty not just a personal practice, but a social responsibility, affecting both our immediate relationships and future generations. When individuals model emotional honesty, they create safe spaces for others to express themselves authentically. This ripple effect of vulnerability can transform relationships and communities. The ancient wisdom that the truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable, acknowledges that emotional honesty often involves temporary discomfort, but leads to lasting peace and clarity. Understanding feelings as weather patterns, rather than permanent states, offers a helpful perspective. Like weather systems, emotions move through our experience. They intensify, peak, and eventually pass. Our role isn't to control these emotional weather patterns, but to allow them to move through us naturally, reducing suffering by eliminating the resistance we often bring to our emotional experiences. The invitation extends to embracing the full spectrum of human emotion, from profound grief to exuberant joy, from gnawing guilt to quiet pride, from deep confusion to tender vulnerability. There are no wrong feelings, only unacknowledged ones. The path to authentic living begins with honest emotional awareness, asking ourselves what we truly feel, rather than what we believe we should feel. The journey toward emotional honesty starts with simple presence, not judgment, not immediate solutions, just awareness. This fundamental shift in approaching our emotional lives opens the door to more authentic relationships, better self-understanding, and ultimately, a more integrated way of being in the world. The healing process begins not with fixing, but with feeling, allowing us to move toward greater emotional freedom and authenticity.